Hello, today we're going to be looking at solving literal equations. So what literal equations are equations that look like the ones you see in front of you right here. Literal equations have multiple variables in them. Since they have multiple variables in them, I can't solve them, and like for instance here, I can't get y equals a number or x equals a number as my final answer because I have multiple variables in there. Instead, what they want us to do is to solve these equations for whatever variable they want us to solve them for. And what that really means is, like for instance, in this first one, we have I equals PRT for t. Whenever you see for whatever, that means get that variable by itself. So our goal here will be to get t by itself. When you do that, like I said, you won't get t equals 5 or something like that. You'll get t equals and then some sort of rearranged version of this equation. So they look scarier than they are, and you might even think, why would I want to do this? A big reason why we want to do this is when you are dealing with complicated formulas in the future, especially if you ever take a physics class or something like that, it's often easier to rearrange the equation for whatever variable you're looking for, then plug in your numbers and do the math, than the other way around. So, good skill to have, even though it might seem a little scary at first. Let's just dive right into this first problem. So, I equals PRT is really hidden saying I equals P times R times T. Because we know that when we have variables right next to each other, they're being multiplied. If we want to get T by itself, we need to undo whatever is happening to T. Well, what's happening to T? T is being multiplied by both P and R. So to undo multiplying, we do the opposite, which is dividing, just like when we solve a regular equation. So to undo multiplying by P and R, I'm going to divide by PR. And just like when I solve a regular equation, anything I do to one side, I have to do the other. Left-hand side now looks like I divided by PR. Crazy fraction with all variables, that's okay. P divided by P cancels, R divided by R cancels, and we get just T. This right here, believe it or not, is your final answer. You probably feel like you're not really done yet, but they asked us to get T by itself. We got T by itself by undoing the things that are happening to T. So we actually are done. We're going to try just a few more of these, handful more of these, just to make sure we've got everything on the right track. For this next one, we have A equals 1/2 BH. We want to get B by itself. So we need to undo whatever's happening to B. But notice we have a fraction here. Just like when we've dealt with fractions before, we're going to get rid of that fraction first just to make our life easier. The way we get rid of a fraction is we multiply by whatever the bottom number of that fraction is. So to get rid of that fraction 1/2, I'm going to multiply everything by 2. So I'm going to multiply by 2 on this side. I'm also going to multiply by 2 on the other side of the equation. 2 times A is 2A. Remember that 2 times 1/2 gives us 1. And when we have a 1 in front, we don't have to write it. So 2 times 1/2 cancels, but I still have BH. Now, I'm not completely done yet, and now I'm dropping things, because I want to get B completely by itself. Remember that BH is secretly B times H. To undo multiplying by H, I divide by H. Left-hand side is now 2A divided by H. Right-hand side is now B. B is by itself. We are done. You might sometimes see things like this one, where you have a pi symbol. Remember, pi is about 3.14. We use it a lot with circles. You might see things that have exponents on them. That, again, may also look kind of scary. But remember, if I have something like pi x squared y, that really means pi times x squared times y. What is this problem asking us to do? This problem wants us to get y by itself. So what's happening to y? It's getting multiplied by pi, and it's getting multiplied by x squared. To undo getting multiplied by pi, we divide by pi. To undo multiplying by x squared, we divide by x squared. Anything I do to one side, I have to do the other. Left-hand side now looks like v over pi x squared. Right-hand side is now just y, so we are finished. If you have an equation that's like a two-step equation like you see here, You need to undo addition or subtraction first, then do dividing, just like if this was a number here instead. So we want to get x by itself. So we need to undo the things that are happening to x. X is getting multiplied by 2 and also add b added to it. We're going to undo the plus b first by subtracting b. These are not like terms, so we can't combine them. All I'm going to do is just list out what I have, y minus b. I can't do anything else to simplify that. Other side is now just 2x. We are closer to being done, but we're not completely done. I don't want 2x, I want just x. That means 2 times x. I'm going to divide by 2 to undo that. So my final answer is going to be y minus b, all divided by 2, equals x. You might have noticed there's a lot of fraction final answers here, and that is perfectly fine. Again, you're going to have multiple variables in your final answer. You might have some fractions, nothing to be afraid of. You're doing exactly what we're supposed to be doing. Next up, v equals 1/3 bh. They're asking us to get h by itself. We see a fraction, let's take care of that first. To undo that fraction, let's multiply both sides by the bottom of the fraction, which is 3. 3 times 3 is 3v. 3 times 1/3, those cancel, because 3 times 3 is 1. And we have just bh. I want h by itself. This is really b times h. To undo p, multiplying by b, I divide by b. These are kind of tongue twisters. So then let's finish this off. Left hand side now looks like 3v divided by b. Right hand side is just h. We wanted h by itself. We are done. This one looks a lot like this one. So remember, just like when we solve regular equations, we're going to want to undo addition first and then take care of undoing multiplying by dividing. So we want x by itself. We're going to undo that plus 7 first by doing the opposite, which is subtracting 7. And then to finish it off, I don't want 4x, I want just x. I'll divide by 4. I'm going to write this off to the side because I'm running out of room. Left hand side is now y minus 7. Right hand side, the 4's cancel, I get just x, which is what I wanted. We've got another one with a fraction in it. Our goal once again is to get y by itself. Let's undo that times 1/3 by multiplying by 3. 3 times v is 3v. 3 times 1/3, remember, is 1. We don't have to write a 1 in front of anything, so there's no number in front at all anymore. Like that. Alrighty. Now, y is not by itself yet. Y is technically being multiplied by pi and x squared. To undo multiplying by pi and x squared, we do the opposite, which is divide by pi x squared. Anything I do to one side, I got to do the other. This fraction, I can't do anything to simplify it. It's just going to stay 3v over pi x squared. It might look a little crazy, but it's right. Right side, pi's have canceled, x squares are canceled. I get just y. Alright, this last one is the hardest one. There will be one like this on a test in the future, just saying, or on a quiz in the future, just saying. So, first of all, what do we want by itself? We want h by itself, but h is down in the bottom of a fraction. We can undo that division the same way that we undid it back here. If I wanted to clear out that fraction, I multiply by the bottom of the fraction, and doing that will make life much easier. So it's going to seem weird compared to what we've been doing, but the first thing we're going to do is undo this fraction here to make that fraction turn into something that doesn't have fractions in it anymore. We multiply both sides by GH. So do that in different colors, it's easier to read. So I'm going to multiply by GH here, and multiply by GH here. On this side, G times H times M is just GHM. You do not have to write a times dot in between them because they're all variables. Over here, G's cancel, H's cancel, I get capital P. If they asked us to solve for capital P, we would be done, but they did not ask us to solve for capital B. They asked us to solve for H. So what's happening to h? It's getting multiplied by g and m. To undo multiplying, we divide, so divide by g, divide by m. Same thing over here. Final answer, I get h by itself, which is what I want. P on top, gm down in the denominator. That is it for solving literal equations. Hopefully now these don't look so scary. I hope you have a great day.